In this problem, we're asked to find the domain of the following function. Y equals root x plus 1 plus 5 minus x over 2 plus 3x plus 5. So just because we have more than one term does not change anything. Because if one term creates a restriction, then the whole function will follow this restriction. So, in the first term, the square root x plus 1, we know that the number underneath the square root must be greater than or equal to 0. So, we can write this for our first restriction. X plus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. And therefore, x must be greater than or equal to negative 1. For our second restriction, we're looking at the second term here. Now, the denominator cannot be equal to 0. So we're going to get this. 2 plus 3x cannot be equal to 0. So 3x cannot be equal to negative 2. Therefore, x cannot be equal to negative 2 over 3. So those are our two restrictions. So if we put the pieces together, this is what we get. So the domain is that x is such that x is greater than or equal to negative 1, and x cannot equal negative 2 over 3, and x exists for all real numbers. So if we draw our number line here, it's going to start at negative 1. It's not going to touch negative 2 over 3, and then it will go all the way to infinity. So another way of writing this in interval notation is like this. X starts at negative 1, and it goes to negative 2 over 3. It's going to skip over negative 2 over 3, and then go all the way to infinity. So I'm going to get a figure in here just so we can see what this function looks like. And as you can see, the domain is exactly how we described it mathematically. It starts at negative 1, approaches asymptote at x equals negative 2 over 3, and then it will continue on and approach infinity.